what's going on, everyone? What's going on? Part of my presence YouTube channel. I want to talk about this article that I read this afternoon. The article, I won't say what website was on, but the title of the article left me dumbfounded, okay? The title was, Meg TheeStallion says she's reclaiming words like thought and hoe. And I threw my hands up in the air. In frustration, I said to myself, here we go again. Who or what entity is paying this rapper to push this type of narrative? Because who, number one, will come out and say something like this publicly? And it has me thinking about back in the day in regards to how we tried to claim the N-word. I won't even say we, because I'm not even in that discussion. I never try to reclaim the N-word. I don't use the N-word. Okay? I don't understand how people could use the N-word to begin with. But back in the 90s, with groups like NWA and a few others, when they were asked about their lyrics, the controversy, what they said was that they're hood reporters, they report on what's going on in the hood, in the neighborhood, and they're not glorifying violence, they're simply telling the world what's happening in our neighborhoods. It's already there. That was the messaging that I'm pretty sure they were told to say during their press conferences back in those days when they were promoting their rap albums and promoting their rap concerts. Now, what they said about the N-word is in a similar fashion, where they were going to reclaim the N-word, change it from a negative meaning, negative connotation, to a positive meaning, a positive connotation where we're using it as a term of endearment. And we change it from the ER to the NA or the GA. And people really try to push that narrative and try to buy it. Now, a lot of people use the N-word because you fast forward to today, you can't have a rap song if the N-word is not in it. It's almost like it's a prerequisite. Unless you're a white rapper. And even then, you could get away with using the N-word, as we've seen. But the point I want to make here is that if you ever been to a funeral, a lot of times people say, my granddaddy used the N-word, my uncle used the N-word, my grandma used the N-word. But if you ever go to a funeral for any of these members, whether they're 60 years old, 70, 80, even if they died young, 20 years old, a teenager, 30s, whatever the case may be, the person who does a eulogy, or even when one of the best friends go up to speak about their loved ones, you'll never hear them say the N-word. You never hear them refer to that man in the casket or that woman in the casket as that was my N-word. Why? Because they know, number one, it's not the place, it's not the time, and this is not the type of language that we should be using to exalt each other, right? So fast forward to this article with Meg TheeStallion saying she's going to reclaim words like thought and hoe. Where's that coming from? How could hoe and how could thought be positive words? And who in their right mind would want to teach their daughter or the next upcoming generation that it's okay to use these words to describe yourselves, to big up yourselves, to help your self-esteem? That doesn't make any sense. But let me just read the article and listen to what it says, okay? Apparently she has a new song called THOT Shit, and this is why she's trying to push this song. She's trying to use this narrative for women to embrace it, okay? Apparently some Twitter follower asked her about the explanation of the song, and what she said is that she's trying to take back the meaning of thought and hoe, which men use to diss women. She stated that, I'm really just talking shit and taking the ownership of the words like thought and hoe because they're not the drag that men think it is when trying to come at women for doing them, whatever the hell that means. But it also says in an official statement for the release of the track, explained that it's a song that celebrates women unapologetically enjoying themselves, doing whatever they want, whenever they want, regardless of what critics have to say. I'm going to read that part again. Doing whatever they want, whenever they want, regardless of what critics have to say. Now, that doesn't remind you of the whole bonnet situation that I discussed previously. That doesn't describe the whole Isla Van Zandt statement that she made, that black women are out of order. That doesn't highlight what people like Kevin Samuels have been saying about women, the modern women, not taking kindly to any type of criticism, even if it's constructive criticism, even if it's a polite reminder. Shout out to Monique. But the important I'm making here is that there seems to be some type of push so that women keep doing whatever they want to do and no one can hold them accountable. And it seems that female artists in hip-hop are at the forefront from pushing this message, from Meg TheeStallion to Cardi B to the City Girls. Are these the type of women that teenagers should be following? That adult women should be following? Where is the leadership? At what point are people saying, no, you shouldn't do that? No, you can't do whatever you want, whenever you want it? Where are the limits? And you know what? I won't go into what I think this is coming from, but in my opinion, it seems to be coming from a particular segment of the society that people get canceled when they try to mention that particular segment of the society. But it seems that this type of rhetoric is very indicative of a segment that doesn't want to be held accountable for any of their choices, that want to operate based on their feelings, how they feel, who they identify with, and not based on logic and facts and reason. And the more this continues, it's going to go further downhill. Traditions will be thrown out the window. A lot of people don't like traditions, I understand that. In some cases, no, traditions are not good. But then those same people want to throw out traditions like the nuclear family. You're going to end up with anarchy. You're going to end up with unruly people who have no code, who have no sense or no moral compass. They can't tell the difference between right and wrong. They don't have any limits. They're up and it's stuck. Right? So I'm gonna leave it with this. I'm gonna leave it with this particular article I saw, or picture I saw of Lizzle. And the article is Lizzle pulled up for some French fries with a Prada bag and no pants, like a queen, like a style queen. This is what it says. This is the article. This is the headline. And there Lizzle is, in her outfit, a Prada bag, and some type of overcoat. It could be a robe with no pants. Similar to the last stunt she pulled at the Coliseum in LA. These things, these bad behaviors are going unchecked. It's happening in family law and family court. It's happening outside in everyday circumstances in the streets. It's happening between breakdowns of relationships between a man and a woman. It's happening in the workplace as well too. It's getting out of hand. I'm not a woman basher. I'm not a woman hater. I'm far from an incel. But you got to be blind if you don't see how there's an agenda that's being pushed. And I'm really waiting for a time when women, sensible women, because there are many out there, but as usual, the people who are the smartest are usually the least outspoken, and the people who are the most ignorant always seem to have the loudest voice. Okay, but I'm waiting for a time where the people who know better won't only do better, but will communicate to others and provide the right messaging so that the ignorant will know better and they could also join in and do better. Okay, so I'm going to leave that at that. And I'll just drop this simple line. May your next move be your best move. Until next time, Pardon My Presence YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace.